Okay. The internet was blowing up when Tyler Perry said that black women should or maybe explore the idea of accepting a man that can pay the light bill as long as he love her or care about her. So tonight we just want to explore the intriguing perspective shared by the filmmaker and playwright Tyler Perry. Hi Abdul, how you doing?
How you feel?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Thank you for joining.
I'm glad to be here.
All right, all right. I just want to say that I hope Avon gets well. My host is in the hospital, Avon. So those who's watching or tune in later, please give her shout outs and keep her in your prayers. So tonight, before we move on, Abdul, I don't know if you're familiar with happened, but I wanted to hear, especially your perspective on this. And I know this has been going on for a couple of weeks now since he said it, and since then, especially black women have been going crazy. But I just want to play a clip of what he said. Hold on.
Okay.
Basically, are you familiar what he
Well,
said?
yes, I looked at it and I heard what he said. Yes.
Hold on. Let's just watch it one more time. One time. Hold on. Let me just get it up and running. Okay. Okay. I know what to do. Hold on. Here we
A
go.
lot of women, especially black women, and I'm probably getting in trouble for saying this, but I will. In the in our society right now, black women are making a lot more money for the most part than black men. Right? There are a lot of black men who are successful, but for the most part, black women are making the money. So if you can find love, if that man works, at whatever job, and is a good man and is good to you and honors the house and honors his wife and does what he can because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay. That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worth, right?
Yes.
And as long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money. All I can pay is the light bill. As long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff. You handle the light bill, baby. You can take me to dinner every now and then. That is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's so hard for a lot of people to take in because that means, no. I need somebody to who is they need to make 5 times more, and I got to have well, go on, keep your list, baby.
Yeah.
God bless you. Hope it happens. Go on, keep your list. But when you talk about just someone to love you and support you, I know people who have whose men can't touch what they make. But when you see them together, that love, that support, that I got you, babe, it's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Most people have no clue that in
All right.
2023,
All right.
the best
Okay.
way to make money on
So, Abdul,
Yes.
so what do you think? What's your thoughts on it? I'm trying to get Greg in here. Just everybody hold on for a little while. I'm trying to get Greg because he want to come in and he's in backstage. So just bear along with me. I'm new to this. But what
Okay.
are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think he's 100% wrong. First of all, okay.
Oh God.
A woman should never lower her standards of what she expects to have or do in life for no man. I mean, if she makes it successfully, that's fine. But she should also find a successful person. You know, you could find a successful man that's going to love you and give you everything just like she wants. So if that's what she wants, that's what she should go for. She shouldn't settle for less. No kind of way. Because she'll never be happy. Never.
But what about when they say that there's not a lot of successful men? There's only a certain percentage? Because that's the talking points now. Those are,
Yeah,
that's
well,
the
well,
rumor running around.
okay, but the other side of that coin is you got to find the ones that's out there. That's bottom line. Don't take less.
but is all women, there's more women than men. So will
Gee,
all women be able to find a man like that?
yes, yeah. They have to, you know, they try to make you think that it's not that many good, successful, caring, and sharing men available for women, but there are. There's enough of them out there. You just got to search out and find them. You can't always go by this guy. He got a nice car. He got a good job. He dresses smooth and all this kind of stuff. Then that's the worst kind of person to be with.
That if he got a good car and a good job?
Yeah, I'll tell you why I say that.
But then
Well,
then
hold it,
tell me.
hold it. Let me
Go ahead.
clarify that. Because the first thing you got to look for in a man is his intelligence first. That's the first
Okay.
thing a woman should look for. And then, his financial stability after that. And then, whether he's an athletic person, his health, because you don't want no, I hate to say this, but you don't want no big fat man,
Right.
some unhealthy character because, he's a limited person right there. Because if he don't care about himself and how he presents himself, he sure can't care about you the same way, you know.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if you're a woman with children, um, you got to look at the compatibility of him being around your kids. Is he compatible with you first? And if he's compatible with your kids. Now, when it comes to the kids, you got to always be honest because some kids are disruptive, bad kids that can mess up anybody's relationship. So you got to know if that's what you're dealing with, you know. And then
Uh,
his social attitude, can he get along with other people? Can you have him around people? How is he around people and stuff like that? And if you do have kids, is he the fathering type of person for your children? Those are the aspects you got to look for when you look for a man for yourself.
yeah, but the thing is that a lot of people, a lot of men are saying that it's not good to date single mothers, period. And you know what? My thing is this: when these when people make comments, right?
Hmm.
I'm interested to know what's the age group of these people, these men that he was talking about, because, well, I'm sure it's a mature age group, because if a woman can pay a mortgage, she's kind of, I'm sure she's 20 and up, right?
Right.
So I'm thinking that a man that can only afford light bill at a certain age, um I think that says a lot about what he was doing financially with his life.
Right. Absolutely.
Because if say for instance a mortgage is 2,000 and your light bill about 600, 6 or 500, and that's only thing what you can afford. Like, are you working, or what happened with your career? And there's a lot of other things that hey Greg,
Hey, what's going on?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Did you see what Tyler Perry? Did I show it to you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I went to the email. For some reason, it wasn't going through the text message.
Oh, okay, okay. Abdul is on the phone. I mean,
Hey, Greg, what's up, man?
Hey, brother, how you been?
All right.
You
yeah,
been
yeah.
okay?
We were just. I'm sorry. So, Greg, just to update you, we were just talking about Tyler Perry. He made a comment, right? And
Mm-hmm.
let me just see. Can I just bring it back on real quick for you, because you just got in, and let's just see, because I want you to have a give a comment of what you think.
Uh-huh.
Hold on. Oh God, can I get there? Can I get there? Hold on for 1 minute. I just wanna. I'm just learning how to use this thing, so just give me
Take
some
your time.
time.
We
'Cause
good.
we've
Okay.
been on a blog. We was on blog, and we had a lot of people, and they didn't transfer over yet to our YouTube channel. So
Uh-huh.
we just we just getting started over here on this end. So I just want to. I'm just gonna mute it for 1 minute. Okay, Greg, I got it now.
All right, cool.
How you been, Greg?
I've been okay. Maintaining. Thank God for that.
Okay, you looking kind of handsome over there with your bed and all of that.
Oh, I feel a mess when I was dozing off.
Don't do that. Hold on for a minute. Hold on. I just want you because I want y'all to chime in. We're not gonna be on long, but hold on. I'm
But thanks for
gonna
the compliment, by the way. Appreciate it.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm gonna add Tyler Perry and see what he have to say about this, and see so you can hear.
A lot of women, especially black women, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but I will. In our society right now, black women are making a lot more money for the most part than black men. Right? There are a lot of black men who are successful, but for the most part, black women are making the money. So if you can find love, if that man works, at whatever job, and is a good man and is good to you, and honors the house and honors his wife and does what he can, because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay. That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worth, right?
Yes.
And as long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money, all I can pay is the light bill. As long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff, you handle the light bill, baby, you can take me to dinner every now and then. That is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's so hard for a lot of people to take in, because that means, no, I need somebody who is they need to make 5 times more, and I got to have well, you go keep your list, baby.
Yeah.
God bless you. Hope it happens. Go and keep your list. But
Okay, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts, Greg?
Okay, so really truly, I don't really subscribe to many things that he say. I'm not a fan of his at all, but to some degree, at some point, every so often he makes good points on certain things that he says, and right there, actually, I think he had a pretty valid point, especially when he's talking about when you're looking at today's society. One of the biggest problems that we have in today's society, especially pertaining to our demographic, is that we're living in a time where everything that's wrong is right and everything that's right is wrong. And we have allowed individualism and this misconception of being independent negate everything that we're doing as people. And this is a huge problem. This is one of the biggest problems that's happening right now. Furthermore, of course, our people, again, we being destroyed for the lack of knowledge based on so many different things, from culture to from a godly viewpoint, and so many different other avenues that you can bring up in this this equation. We're a broken people, and the fact that we are a broken people, we just allow we allow societies, all the things in society to pretty much navigate the things that we do, and that's the overall problem. And again, like I said, pride and arrogance. You get on social media, and social media is one of the biggest focal points of literally us. It controls everything that we're doing, and that's the problem. Those are some of the biggest problems right there. So how can we seek solution, or how can we even come together collectively to do anything if we're just allowing all these unnecessary elements to negate everything that we're doing as a people?
Right. Now, Abdul said he didn't agree with that, but my thing is this: would a man feel comfortable by only doing that? Because my experience from just being around men and looking at other people's relationships, men are not comfortable when they don't live up to their own standards. So I don't think it's mostly about if she's comfortable, would he be comfortable with that? You understand?
Right.
Because a lot of men said they will, but if society has it that this is a patriarchal society, and they're saying that men's supposed to be the providers and protectors, would a man under that, right? Under that ideology, would a man feel comfortable being able only to pay the light bill while his woman is out there hustling and she becomes the breadwinner and she becomes the leader in terms of finances of the home? And that puts a lot of pressure on a woman.
Sure
would
it
a
does.
woman, would a man be happy with that?
Would he be content
That's
with it?
my question.
Would he be
Right?
content?
Would he be and would you be happy with a situation like that? Like, could you really be? Would you be comfortable with something like that? With a situation like that?
Absolutely, especially, but again, like I said, it all depends on the mindset of the individual. It all depends on where they've come from. It all depends on how they're allowing, again, society to negate everything that they're doing in life. Because again, like I said today, people are, we allow society to become our puppet master, and this is a major setback, for who we are. Again, and if you don't have any type of godly attributes, if you don't even follow, and when I say that, I'm just talking about just from the degree of having some kind of discipline in your life. There's a lot of us that just don't have that. Remember the fact that we, due to the fact that us as a demographic have been victims of socialism for at least about nearly about 200 years now. And I'll give you an example. Even during the time, if you really understand history, um, which is probably one of my favorite subjects. When you look at when the time of when Jim Crow was prevalent in the 19th to 20th century, you could find old pictures and old photos of a full scale family that did not have many opportunities, have been completely knocked out of the equation of the economic construct of the country, of what the country was doing at the time. But they stayed, remained a good family. A husband and a wife had about maybe 4 or 5 kids, maybe sometimes 6 kids, 7 kids. But whatever that man did at this particular point, the woman was submissive to her husband. They were most likely God fearing, versus what's going on in today's society. Versus fast forward, once we got into the 60s after COINTELPRO and civil rights and everything changed dramatically. And the whole socialism thing really took hold with our people and never let up. So when you look at where we are today, this is the unfortunate outcome. Everything with us, you got to remember, keep in mind, it's sad that we have just celebrated as a people 50 years of hip hop, but keep in mind, 34 years of that 50 years, we have been subjugated as people of color to all kind of negative behavioral patterns, all types of horrible negative rhetoric. I mean, this is what we think is 2023 going into 2024, or what we think is 2024. And you still got men running around here calling themselves the N word. You still got women. Now you got women actually gravitating and glorifying this idea and competing for the idea of being a bad bitch, which is asinine. So the fact that and then the fact of the whole thing of being independent, all of the and a lot of that stuff started with all of the Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately, and all of this, and then Destiny Child enhanced it with Can You Pay My Bills and all of this. So we have had so many different um socialist situations, man, that we have literally ourselves been subjugated to allowing to control the whole navigation of the way we're living our life. And here, in 20 we again in the 21st century, now you got so you have IG, you got Twitter, you have these beacons are the focal point of our destruction, because they're controlling the entire narrative. It should make no sense for a woman to sit there and watch one of these housewives shows and literally base that whole thing on how her relationship should be, and no different than a man. You understand what I'm saying? So first and foremost, if we have no kind of discipline within our well-being, and we're not even seeking collectiveness, then and how, like, us being a people again, we do not do anything. We have no intention of actually becoming self-autonomous for the benefit of solution. This is one of the reasons why this younger generation is destined to fail, because of the things that we're doing today. So going to agree with what he was saying, just to where he's saying that if a man was, just comfortable with that. There's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, it's not like if the man actually has goals, and he actually has goals, and he's literally striving to do better, eventually that man would do better. Will that woman stay? Will she stay submissive, although she is paying all of the bills? Is she arrogant? Again, like I said, what type of person, what kind of aura does this woman carry within her well-being, and what type of man is he? You know what I mean? Who is she around? Who is she around that would actually maybe put batteries in her back to make her feel like she's all high and mighty to where she start degrading her man? If these things aren't happening and they come to a mutual understanding, then there should really be no problem. I think what we do is that we allow things like this to become a problem because all we're busy doing is just shucking and jiving, playing games, and doing nothing to come together collectively as a people for the benefit of solution. And this is why we have these problems. But to his credit, I couldn't agree with him more. And again, I'm not a fan of his, but I couldn't agree with him more there.
Abdul, what you have to say?
Well, I don't agree with Tyler Perry at all, period.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a fan of him neither, brother.
You know,
but
and
you know, I just give credit where it's due.
Yeah. And you know, like I said, things that are acceptable to one person might not be acceptable to another person. I
Right.
wouldn't expect a woman to like, all right, I got daughters. I don't want them to find a man that has less than they have. I don't want them to be with nobody like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I want them to seek somebody that's basically on the same intelligence level that they are,
Right.
or above them. And financially, they have to pick somebody in my world above them. You know what I mean? I don't want them to have a guy that you can just pay the light bill, love him to death, because that's not going to work. Okay.
Well, what about the mindset, brother? Like
The mindset. Well, you know,
yeah. Because you got that. We got to really take that into deep consideration, because you know there's a lot of people out there that could pull the wool over your eyes. So, you got to be ready, because I have a daughter, and I totally understand where you're coming from, brother. So so the mindset is important. So that's what I was asking. What do you think about the mindset of the individual who's doing better than them, or stuff like that? Like, because he definitely got to meet your approval on all levels.
All right,
Right.
so Greg, let me ask you this, Greg. I'm sorry, Abdul. I just gotta ask Greg this real quick. So your daughter, right? Say for instance, she gets married, and the guy paying the light bill for, he's paying only the light bill, but he's been doing it for 5 years, but he's very enthusiasm. He's he's a decent dude, but he just can't pay more than just the light bill. And she's
Right.
the breadwinner, and she's working and taking care of kids and doing all of that. Would you be okay with that?
As long as, like I said, as long as this brother is on the level, as
5
long as
years.
he is,
Taking 5 years. He didn't.
Yeah.
Like,
If it was 7 years, if it was 8 years, as long as now this is the thing, right? Here's the thing. If he's doing this for the same 5 years and he's not moving anywhere and stuff like that, it all depending on the current situation. We know that life changes. We know that economy, the inflation's getting worse. We know gentrification is one of the culprits that's really messing our people up. The fact that we don't practice group economics is another factor. But what I'm saying is that this is the thing. You really have to weigh this thing to the point where, and her as the individual, because I always tell my daughter, when in doubt, she's only 15 right now. She'll be 16, Lord willing, next month. I always talk to her right now. One of the things that I instill in her head right now is that I want her to become, when I say independent, not to the degree of being independent to where she's above and beyond any man and stuff like that, but I want her to practice it to just to the degree as she's being young, and so she can be independent enough to focus on what she needs to do first. So by the time I want her to be ambitious. I want her to be to the point where she knows how to deal with her own savings. I want her to be put in a position to have the mindset to where she does not have to actually depend on any man. You understand what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
And
but
that's taboo, because that's not what's being said in men's spaces. They saying that women should go to school or college to find a husband. Okay.
No. First of all,
to find a husband.
No, nobody shouldn't really be trying to find anybody. I mean, how I look at that is, if it's ordained to be for that individual to come your way, it'll all fall into place. But if the fact that we do have human tendencies, we will want to go out, and I'm always telling her, make sure you get yourself a man. The other thing, we don't even want to go there. But what I just try to talk to her right now as a young 15 to 6, she's a junior in high school down in Georgia. And what I'm just trying to focus her on is because now it's funny, when she talks to me, she'll tell me about all of the boys, everything she doesn't talk to her mother about those things. She comes to me because I told her, when in doubt, if you have any problem, if any dude is pushing any kind of slang to you or saying anything out of pocket that you don't understand, or if they're coming at you sideways, you need to talk to your dad, and so I can talk to you on how to, negate these situations, so this way you don't have any issues in the long run. Because the last thing I don't want my child to lose her innocence, for all of the wrong reasons, or because she feel compelled to, because society's teaching them that. You feel what I'm saying? If that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I do want her to have what I just want my daughter to have at the end of the day. And I even think Brother Abdul will probably agree with this. And this is something that we all should agree with. And this is one of the biggest problems that we're lacking as a demographic. One of the biggest focal points of our problem, and I'm only going secular right now, is that we have no code of conduct. And if you don't have a code of conduct, you automatically have problems right there. If you don't have a code of conduct, you can forget it. Because without a code of conduct, you cannot move forward to do anything else remotely positive to put yourself in a better position to even become a self-autonomous individual, or individually or collectively. So we have to understand that and nip that in the bud right away. No code of conduct, you can forget it. And that's one of the biggest problems that we've had. That's one of the biggest monkeys on our back. And this is the reason why a billionaire like him could sit here and say these things, and 101 gazillion of us will sit there, either curse him out, say he's wrong, this, that, so forth. We don't have no code of conduct. You understand what I'm saying? And that's very serious. So I'm trying to, I want my daughter to have dignity, a code of conduct, a form of respect for herself. So when she does meet that individual, he knows what he's dealing with. You see what I'm saying? And if he is an individual that has lesser values when it comes down to money and things like that, if he's a sincere individual that's coming from the heart, by all means, then he has my blessings to deal with my daughter. Now, at the end of the day, if he becomes what they call very comfortable with it, to where you see he's not moving nowhere, and then it becomes an issue, then that's now room for another conversation. And I will sit down and I will address that with her. And if I need to talk to him about that, then absolutely, yeah. So it can go both ways, honestly.
Okay, but let me ask you this: what is her chances, from what you see in society that's going on? What is your daughter's chances on finding that mate, that ideal mate, especially what you would approve of?
At this particular point right now, like I said, and this is one of the reasons why at 53 years old, right? When I deal with the scriptures, I deal with the scriptures from a scholarly viewpoint. I'm not dealing with no easy Jesus nonsense. I'm not dealing with it from a T.D. Jakes Creflo Dollar viewpoint. I've done thorough research on a lot of things to put me in the perspective of how I can defend certain aspects and certain when it comes to that platform. So I also do talk to her about Christian principle, or what they call biblical principle, and I give that to her as a young child to show her the essential difference on how you're supposed to really analyze and critique with your understanding, versus listening to somebody saying, well, no matter what you do, God has a plan for you, and you can, because right now look at how and I'm not trying to make this a religious platform. What I'm just saying is that look at how this misconception, or this concept of progressive Christianity, that is literally controlling everything, is hand in hand with the culture, is doing everything completely contrary to the scriptures, which is the reason why people try to beat up on the scriptures and try to say that scriptures is the problem, and overall it's not. It's society that's the problem. And so when I talk to her, I give it to her from that godly sense, and then I also give it to her from a secular viewpoint, telling her that she needs to carry a code of conduct. She needs to have discipline for herself. When she's talking to these young men, I tell her to, and that's why when I go out with her, if I go, I took my daughter out the other day. I took her to lunch. I opened the door for her. I'll pull a chair out. I'll do certain things and show her these are the certain things that a man's supposed to do for you as he's courting you and trying to, present himself as a gentleman and things like that. It can't be the other way around. When you're sitting down, you analyze this conversation. He shouldn't be talking about nonsense. He shouldn't be using all kind of negative rhetoric and things like that. That's not even gentleman like, as he's talking to a lady. Now, again, mind you, I know that they're young, and and she knows how much I hate drill rap and I hate stupid things like that. So I condemn all those things in front of her, and she actually laughs when I condemn it and stuff like that. And I'll be telling her that these are the certain red flags that you gotta watch out for. And you have to keep in mind that a majority of this younger generation right now has been raised wrong again, because look at where we are in what we think is 2023 as a literal demographic nationwide. This is
So
happening
what is the
everywhere, all across the
percentage?
board. Huh?
What is percentage you think that she will find that type? Because like what I'm hearing, you are going by Christian ideologies and principles, right?
Uh-huh.
So what is her chances of marrying first and moving on in relationship? As you know,
Well,
you would teach, like, what is the chances now, considering what's going on now?
well, like I said, at this particular point right now, the chances are extremely slim, very, very slim, because we know that there are people who are not only are there, you got people today. We could even take Christianity or the biblical narrative just out of the equation completely, and I'll do that because I know my brother Abdul don't really deal with it. I know he understands, but he most likely doesn't subscribe to that. But I'm pretty sure that the brother will agree that again we're living in the time and a society, especially with our people, where everything that's wrong is right and everything that's right is wrong. And the fact that, and only going from a secular viewpoint, we do not carry a code of conduct. So at the end of the day, if you still got young men today that are running around here looking at men who they idolize as OGs, and an OG still walking around calling himself a nigger and disrespecting and calling a woman a hoe and a bitch, how can this man be idolized, or how can you look up to this individual if he's showing you nothing? If he's showing he's made no progress in his life, if he's actually even subscribing to all of the madness that's going on today. You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the chances are very slim. Just from a moral viewpoint, things are just, I mean, look at society is falling apart really badly. I mean,
So basically, as you saying this, because a lot of men teaching their daughters or have been teaching their daughters for years to be independent, don't depend on a man, right?
Right.
So what you saying, that you're basically saying you want your daughter, you don't believe that she has a very slim possibility, right?
No, what I'm saying is that, what I'm simply saying is that what I want to instill within her mindset right now is to literally make sure you as an individual take care of yourself, put yourself in a position where you carry a code of conduct, a code of dignity. So when you are confronted by an individual, you have to let them know that, yes, I'm open to a relationship. I'm open to an understanding. I'm open to a mutual understanding on how we can do things together. But at the end of the day, if things don't work out, I can take care of myself. I don't see nothing wrong with that. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, as a woman, and I give that, and this is one of the reasons why even today, sometimes when I come across ratchet chicks, I call them queens, just to instill some type of upliftment in them, to show them that, the way they present themselves, they're not the bitch that they think they are. That's the society giving them a social illusion, that they're victims of what we call a social illusion. So again, in today's society, there's so many things that we got to change as a demographic, which we have not focused on, and what makes it bad, we have no intention of even doing it. We don't really have an intention of doing it, as you can see. You know what I mean?
So you won't teach your daughter that her first priority she needs to be able to get married and have children, as the scriptures as the scriptures would say, because the scriptures tell women that that our priorities should be to have children and
Yes,
take care of our families, right?
that's right.
And our children and our husband. So if she's paying the bill, like with the light bill, if he only could pay the light bill, then that's not biblical either, because he's supposed to be the breadwinner and the provider.
Well, here's the thing.
Provider.
No, I get what you're saying.
According to the patriarchal system that's been set up for men.
Right. But what I'm saying is that, but here again, the Most High knows the heart. And if the man is a sincere man who literally means well, and if he's out there doing everything in his willpower to prove to her and show her that he's making every attempt necessary to do better for them and things like that. If he's out there trying to go on interviews to get more money, if he's even, you know, busting the chops at the work at the job to show his boss that he needs that raise, and so he can do better for his family. If he's constantly pushing in the right direction, and if he is a godly man, if he's a man, and this is the thing, I don't believe in any what they call godly individual. I believe that we're all works in progress, and we're all striving to, you know, be that better individual in God. Those of us who are where God writes on the fleshy tables of our heart his laws, and to cause us to understand that. But what I'm saying is that if he's an individual who has those attributes of doing the right thing, then I don't see any issue with her going along with him, doing everything her willpower to support that man and do what, you know, and do everything if he's there for his children, if he's there doing and again, because again, like I said, you already see what how society is deliberately taken black men out of the equation and have done things against us deliberately, and this is
But
bad,
Greg, some black men have taken themselves out as well.
Oh well, we know what we know what we call being
that. You got
complacent.
brothers who never even take care of their kids, never even seen their kids using
that's called being complacent. That's called complacency, and that's where we are, right? So, listen, I'll tell you that I'll agree with you 100% there, because I'm in this part of the hood over here, in this part of Harlem over here, Morningside Heights, and all I see every day is the same dudes, probably for the past 10, 15, maybe 8 to 10 years, on the same corners doing absolutely nothing with their life at all, and that's called being complacent, being complacent minded. It also shows that they can listen to someone who galvanizes, a galvanizer, or a pro-black individual who will continue to push in their mind that, well, the white man did this to you, and this is why you, and they'll make these excuses, and at the end of the day, no, there's no excuse. The world is big. There's no excuse for you to be doing those things. But at the end of the day, and this is the thing, we also know that even you striving as a man of color out there, that you're gonna have people that's gonna be discriminatory. That's just, it comes to the territory of who you are. But at the end of the day, there should be no excuse whatsoever for you to continue to do what you need to do to make things happen. You understand what I'm saying? And if you trust your faith in the Most High, things will eventually fall into place. But it has to be a full circle thing. You have dudes in this society, or men, like you said, in the society, who literally just, they have no interest in doing anything for themselves. They have no interest in becoming self-autonomous. They have no interest in doing anything collectively to help themselves or their people. And people like that, you can see these people a mile away. These are the people that you disconnect and you leave them alone. And unfortunately,
because this is what's going on. If when the ideology, right, or the statistics, right, as some would say, the white man took the black man out of the home. So once he's been taken out of the home, he's by himself, right? We could say, right?
Yeah.
What is he doing with that time when he's by himself? What does he did? Okay, so he got taken out the home. So then when he went on and he became independent of, he didn't have that responsibility of the children of a wife. A lot of times you don't see them excelling just by themselves. That's what I'm saying. Like, what happens when they're by themselves and they still can't get it together? Like
being too complacent. And when you're too complacent, simply meaning that when you just lack the desire to uplift yourself, lack the desire to push forth any kind of self-improvement, to put yourself in a better position to do things, you have now become stagnant. Once you have a stagnant and complacent mindset, you pretty much you shut your own self down, and you become your own worst enemy. And that's what we have. And this is on a collective level. This is a nationwide. It's almost like a pandemic amongst with our people. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of the reasons why I'm talking to you about the collectiveness and things like that. And then unfortunately, due to the fact that we have been knocked out the equation, and of course you take that back to the whole John B. Calhoun thing with the ethnologist program, and then also the whole civil rights program. You also got to take it back to the NAACP, who's been selling their people out since 1909, since their establishment. COINTELPRO. You had so many different.
Why do you laugh, Abdul?
Because that's the truth. He's talking the truth. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. I'm correct.
Right.
And, you remember you've had men of color who have created social illusions to make us look like they were here for us, and they just simply weren't. You know what I mean? And again, that ethnologist program really did a number on our people back in the 1960s, going into 64. Not only that, remember, the Immigration Act was passed in front of King, and it didn't benefit us. It benefited everybody else, from Caribbeans to West Africans to Asians and Arabs. Right. Did absolutely nothing for our people. Then, if that's not bad enough, even him, he Martin Luther King had his issues when he brought forth this misconception of social gospel, and then really did nothing to really instill the truth of scripture into it, but use it as just kind of like an illusion to make us think that he was some kind of godly type of guy. And then by 68, when he was assassinated, and President Nixon comes in, after, what does his presidential advisor Daniel Moynihan do? He passes something called the banana neglect policy. Okay, which now put us in deeper trouble coming into in the 70s. And also you got to keep in mind, when at the time when they passed that Fair Deal Housing Act in 1968, right around the time of the death of King, what was the first thing happened? They gave us the illusion that they was going to give blacks the opportunity to now move into suburbs. And the first experiment was in Long Island. They let them go into Roosevelt Field and move into certain parts of Queens. And then what did they secretly do? They secretly sent listing agents and brokers in and told all the white people to sell their properties to get them away. And so this way, because they say that the black people coming into the neighborhood is going to cause an automatic decline. And unfortunately, that's exactly what it did. And that's, so, I mean, like I said,
right?
Huh?
Redlining, right?
Well, that wasn't redlining started. That redlining thing started in the Bible Belt from Tennessee, Georgia, Nashville, all those places, going into Detroit. Detroit was the biggest subject of redlining. And then when you look at the whole history of 8 Mile, 8 Mile, everyone talks about Eminem. It goes beyond Eminem. That, that's the grand illusion. But 8 Mile was based on two demographics: a white neighborhood and a black neighborhood that shared the same zip code, and they were too close to each other. So you had a white neighborhood that constantly complained that why couldn't they get the benefits of every other thriving suburb across the nation. So they started sending out people to measure the zoning of the area and things like that, and land surveyors and things like that. And then what they told the white people was that what you need to do is you need to come out as a community, build a huge gate that literally will separate you from the black community. And once you separate from the black community, then we'll give you a new zip code, and then your zip code will make you eligible for everything you need, from equities to everything that you need to now become also a thriving suburb like the rest of them. And the black community would just fall, and it just fell apart. And that's exactly what they did. That's the story of 8 Mile in Detroit. You know what I mean?
So basically, because I don't think you answered the question, but maybe you did, and I just wanted to hear something else. But
no, go ahead. No, tell.
The thing is that if we're gonna do it, if you're talking about the Christian way, it still puts women in a place of being the breadwinner, and it's all right.
Well, it puts the woman when you're gonna go to Christian aspect, she's supposed to be submissive, right?
Hold on, the woman's supposed to be submissive according to the scriptures.
Yeah, but the man has to be a godly man. He has to be.
Okay, but don't he supposed to also be able to
he can't just be anybody.
Right, no, I'm talking about a godly man, but don't he supposed to still have that? He's supposed to still be the head in terms of protecting and providing.
Well, yeah, and like I said,
not being
many
able,
ways that
being
he can,
able
he
only
can
to
do that.
pay.
He can.
Go ahead.
And he can make those contributions in many different ways. You've got to remember, he has the masculine. He's the masculine gender. So the fact that he's there to protect his family, the fact that he's there, because he could be a breadwinner, and he doesn't. It doesn't. If he's not, if he, at a temporary point where he cannot be the sole provider of the family overall, and the woman supersedes him with finances, okay, that's fine. But also, if he's a godly man dealing with godly principles and the correct respect,
because he's supposed to be if according to the scriptures, we talking about according to the scriptures,
right? But notice what I just said. I said from a temporary, if there's a time, and this you got to understand something. That God God knows the heart of His people. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is that if the man remains a godly individual who prays to the Most High for all of the right reasons, not for rings and things and all that, but pray for God's blessings to instill within his family that he can do the right thing. And if he stays together with his family, if I believe that things will eventually will fall into place. Because, and again, like I said, you got to remember, those of us who will truly understand the scriptures, you got to understand salvation itself and Christianity is all based on heartache and pain. It's not about rings and things and sunshine and lollipops. It's not about doing better in this. No, that's all wrong. This is one of the biggest misconceptions that we have when it comes down to understanding the scriptures. You know what I mean? The scriptures is really a guideline of discipline and heartache and pain in order for you to, because what does it tell you? Through much tribulation. It's not the other way around. No matter what you do, God has a plan for you and rises and shines. And no, none of that. That's a bunch of nonsense. That's foolishness. And this is the reason why, and this is one of the things that actually broke our people. One of the main reasons why we walk away from scripture is because we have been a broken people for so long. And how many times have you heard some pastor, well, just hold on, just keep on holding on. Jesus is coming. It's going, oh yeah, hold on. And oh, don't worry, baby. Everything's going to be okay. Just trust in God. And you hear that for 10, 20, 30 years and nothing ain't happening. You're like, man, I'm tired of this nonsense, And this is one of the reasons why a lot of the kids in the 90s were rebelling. Oh, come on, man, I don't want to go to that church. Oh, I'm tired of that. I don't want. And you see your boys bawling. You see everyone doing this, that, so forth. And you can't get nothing because you're waiting for God. You see? And that's a big misconception. We have no patience. You know what I mean? And you got to understand, due to the fact that the creator is in control of everything, he's going to place things in the order he wants it to be. So all I'm saying is that if I'm going to use it from a Christian viewpoint, what I'm going to just say is that if that family is under the order of God and everything is working the way the Most High is doing it, you have to either be what they call submissive and understand that. You have to be patient and understand that, and things like that. And I understand life happens. Not only that, in this human body is going to long and desire for things, and we're going to have conflict. It's a part of nature. It happens. You know what I mean? But all I'm just simply saying is that I'm going to give it to you from a biblical viewpoint of saying that, if everything is from a sincere basis, things will fall into place. When it comes from a secular viewpoint, then you have to literally continue to strive, and you got to really bust your chops. You got to do everything in your will. I mean, you got to do it from both aspects. You got to continue to do that anyway. You should always be out there doing everything to continue to make it happen. That's what you should be doing anyway. That should be the mindset that we, as a demographic, we should be carrying, and we don't do it. We just don't do it. That's
who don't do it? Because according to Tyler Perry, women are doing it. And I'm looking at it, he's saying that he's telling black women, black men, it has given up. They can't do it. They only can afford a light bill.
No, that's nonsense.
No,
he's what he's telling you.
He's telling you. Well, I'm just saying, because why it's easier to say, well, of course, a woman should be happy with that than to tell men to, as a collective, men don't even black men don't even stick together as a collective.
That's right. And the reason why he's giving it to you
so the burden has to fall on someone.
And the reason why he's giving it to you that way, because you got to remember, again, being victims of socialism as a people, one of the biggest things that and when I say the oppressor, I'm not just saying the entire white race. I'm talking about powerful people in high places who have literally been controlling the narrative for a very long time, who literally understood how they can turn socialism into something that literally led to the capitalism and all the things that have kept us where we are. And the biggest the biggest issue was to keep the black men out of the equation. Prime example, back in I believe it was J. Edgar Hoover coming out of the head of the FBI, coming right around the time of his retirement. They asked him a few questions about the black race, and they asked him, what is the biggest problem in America? He said the Negro race. They cannot be a collective race. He said it himself. Negro unity is the biggest problem in this country. We cannot have it. And if there's going to be any kind of messiah or anything, we have to be the ones that give it to them to keep them in this mindset. So out the gate, these people have been very blatant. They have been very arrogant, and they have let you know, okay, of the things that their agendas based on how we, where we needed to be in order for their construct to continue to be where it is. You know, we know that already at the end of the day. The problem with us is that due to the fact that we are destroyed without for the lack of knowledge, because we become disgruntled and because we become our own worst enemy, and instead of us looking back and combing all the stuff out and saying, okay, well, we need to, the fact that we see that nobody's coming to help us from a, you know, on a demographic viewpoint, we should be doing things to make it happen, and we're not doing it. And this is also one of the reasons why now you have all these moguls and all these, click the link below on IG and all over social media trying to make you some kind of real estate, this, that, so forth. And all of our people, what do? We begin to eat ourselves off. So we've done so many, we have such a problem, you know, in society as a social construct. And that's why the black man is plagued with everything behind his back. And they have literally put black women on top. And as you can see now, what's going on in Hollywood, every time you see a black woman right now, a successful and powerful black woman, she's in the bed with some white man, some Arab man, or some Asian man. And that also is another focal point of showing you that they're, and keep in mind, you got to remember, this demographic that we call Caucasoid, they're beginning to decline in numbers. They have to find some kind of way to use a host to keep themselves replenishable, and this is what they're doing right now. So this is all.
But I think it's both. I think it's black men too, because black men they've been dating. You know, they get rich and then they go to another race. You understand?
No, what happens with our people, and we get rich and then we become superficial thinkers. That's a big problem with our people. You got to remember, we're not used to having anything, and if you don't have, you're not used to having nothing, you're not going to know how to act when you get it. That's the problem. Once you become a superficial thinking black person, that's why the Jays, the 50s, and all of them, they'll do nothing to help their people, but at the same time, they will actually be a part of the construct to go against us by putting major contributions and financial contributions into things that will distract black people, into continuously idolizing them and putting them on a pedestal. And we shouldn't be doing that. These are big problems right here, and they know that already. So they've already submitted or became submissive to a higher power. And all of those are coons. Them are coons that have literally have no intention of doing anything to help our people. You understand what I'm saying? And that's and again, go ahead.
My question to you is, and Abdul, black men are still preaching that they are heads of their community. They are men, and they should be the head. Yeah, what do you believe as a collective black men are doing in their community as a collective to make women feel comfortable that they can follow behind them and they can be led by them, according to what we see now? Because Tyler Perry mentioned black woman, and that's why I'm using it. I'm using these talking points.
Well, he's using that. He's using black women for a reason, because at the end of the day, when you're looking at it just from the perspective of how things are working in society, yes, the black women is over. But again, this is from years and years and years of black men not finding their way, literally being completely knocked out of the equation through all kind of different devices and things like that. But again, we should be holding ourselves accountable for that, because we have become our own worst enemy, because we're not going back and we're not doing the footwork of finding out what the hell happened and why we should be doing things collectively as a people. That's black men. That's the problem that we have, and we need to be changing our mindset, and we're not doing it. That's the problem.
Abdul, what you have to say about that?
Well, you know, I feel totally different. And first of all, I have no Christian values because I'm an atheist, and I was born.
Right. That's why, yeah.
Okay. And
no, that's why I was saying. That's why I tried to differentiate it, brother, because I know that.
Well, Abdul, are you really an atheist? You do believe in a higher power of God,
well,
right?
I believe in the Creator. The Creator has nothing to do with mankind's Bible. Nothing to do with mankind's religion or all this other stuff. They make it up. I mean, the humans developed all this stuff for controlling society. They did this.
That I beg to differ on, and you know, that'll be for another conversation. But
another show.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because I mean, you know, that I definitely know is, and but again, I can certainly understand why you would think like that, because of all of the you know, the different phases of the socialistic phases that we have been through as a demographic and as people. Why you would definitely have that viewpoint. I can understand it 100%. But again, me being 53 years old, and because again, at 53 years old, I could have been in your position. I could have been all of these different things. I have went toe to toe with conscious dudes. I've went toe to toe with, and the whole purpose of me dealing with the biblical narrative now, I know it is all spiritual, and I can go into that wholeheartedly. But again, that's time for another conversation. And I want to give you the floor because you actually haven't really voiced your opinion, and I think it's fair that we want to I want to hear what you got to say too, brother. So go ahead.
Okay, you got that out.
Yeah, go ahead, though, brother.
No, see, first of all, when it comes to relationships, I do not believe in the man being the head of a family. I don't believe that at all, 100%. I looked at my parents' relationship, and they were always equal, and I studied them more than anybody because I was home with them. And, they took me as a threat to them because I threatened their authority. I was the only child that they had at home that wouldn't do what they said, and because I was my own person from a child on up,
Right.
So I've always had problems with my parents. But when it comes to like you said, his daughters, I teach my daughters, I taught them rather, because they're grown now, to seek out a man that has intelligence first. Oh, that's the first line. That's always the first line, because you don't want a dumb.
Right.
You got a guy riding around in a flashy car, dressing all smooth and all this, and he's a stupid person.
Yeah,
smoking up all the joint, getting high and all this. He's no benefit to you.
How they say do a bum in the Benz, right? You can find a bum in the Benz and a boss in a Kia.
That's a good one. That's a good.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And my daughters, I can't even get this out. None of them turn out right. Okay, they didn't listen to me like they should have. They listened to their mother, who was 100% wrong. When they was little kids, I was telling them about going to college and all this kind of stuff, and she interrupted that, and she said that everybody ain't got to go to college. So when she made that statement, that ended our relationship right then and there, because I said, now I'm going to get rid of her. I said, I'm going to get her away from my kids, because she couldn't afford to take them anyway. And I know she knew she couldn't take the kids from me anyway, but she couldn't afford them anyway. She had a minimum wage job,
right?
And she couldn't afford 3 kids, no kind of way. So, she left and the kids stayed with me, and I planned her right out of the picture. And she was around them all the time. She'd come over all the time, cook for them sometime. But the kids always preferred my cooking to their mother, because I got home when we was together. I got home early enough that I would do the cooking and prepare all the food and all that stuff, and then go pick her up from work. So that always worked out. I was always there with the kids first before she was, and I was never trying to get them closer to me than they were to their mother, because I didn't look at life like that. Because I didn't want my kids to think like me. I didn't want my kids to be nothing like me, because honestly, I'm a ruthless type person, and I didn't want my kids to fall into that same category. I'm a good person, but I got that ruthless side too, because of the way I came up. I came up in North Philly, guns and gangs and all this stuff. And I always controlled it. I ran it as a business, not just a street gang going to fight all the time and all that. I didn't even look at it like that. I feel as though that when I was coming up, we could extort money from the criminals in the neighborhood. That's the way I looked at it. And that's what we did, which I didn't think was a bad thing, because I thought that was the best thing to do. We got all these criminals here doing all kinds of stuff, not the drug dealers now. Drug dealers didn't exist in our neighborhood. We ain't permit that. But the other people gambling, and now the prostitution we drove out, gambling and selling food without a license, and speakeasy, selling liquor out, from home or out of some club or something like that, But see, my thing that I try to tell women should always look for a man that can provide for them. You don't want a man that can only pay the light bill, because that ain't gonna make you happy. You ain't gonna be happy with no poor man. I mean, just you got to face that fact. And
So let
if
me
you,
ask you a question, Abdul, real quick. Just a short pause of the cause, because actually I agree with what you just said, right? So let me just ask you just a real quick question. Maybe Ange could make some sense of it as well. Just by you saying that alone, right? What I'm saying is that, right? Just to what you just said made total sense. You know what I mean? Um, let's just say, for instance, hypothetically speaking, that it started out that way in the beginning, that he just had low values in the beginning, you know what I mean? But as he got older, and fell in love with the woman, and and things like that, and realized from that point on that he had to be the provider, and then things eventually got better. What would you think about that? Because I mean, like I said, everyone, we all come from different, situations. Everyone's situation differs, you know what I mean? Because that's
right,
basically my mindset. So like, what would be your take on that? Just by what you just said, because you said made sense 100%.
okay,
Man should be the provider. I agree wholeheartedly. But at the end of the day, the fact that if he just came in out the gate, kind of like low wage job and stuff like that, and and then she actually was his backbone and did things to help him and things like that, to put him in a better position, and just the fact that she was supportive of him as he was going through these phases of being, kind of broke in the beginning, but that actually himself caused him to be more enthusiastic and encouraged him to do better. And then it got
But that's
better.
the problem, Greg. It's tough as a woman
No, I know it's tough,
psychologically.
but I'm
It
just
is
asking
really,
Abdul,
and
and I'm
it
asking both of
wears
y'all,
its tears
what would
on
be
a
your
woman's
take on that?
mental. I'm gonna tell you, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Before Abdul answer it, I want to answer that as a woman, because
Go
that's
ahead.
what the platform is for, so we can see from different perspectives, right?
Uh-huh.
Here's the conversation that's not being really talked about. It's not just about the support. When a woman support and motivate, that's one thing. But when she has to actually take on financial and physical, more financial and physical responsibilities, that takes a toll on her mental
Of
and her
course it does.
well-being, health. Okay, so it's not just because it's just that the woman making more money. Imagine if a man feels some type of way that he may not be able to support his family, and he's afraid of that. Imagine what a woman feel that's
Of
carrying that
course.
burden. Okay,
Yeah.
so now she has the high paying job. She might want to quit and leave. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Women get tired, and physically we can't do as much as men. So we might, you might have that woman who's earning those, 7, 8 figures or whatever the case is, and then she gets tired. Now she's in a situation she cannot stop working, because this guy, her husband or her man can only pay the light bill. That puts a lot of pressure on a woman. And then not only that, she coming home, she cooking, she cleaning still. As if they still living together. I don't know. It's various situations. You understand?
That's right.
So there's various situations. For me as a woman, if a man is constantly in that situation in a relationship, I will tell her to downgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that save your money and get into a situation where he can at least meet you and feel some type of feel better about himself financially, because it causes problems. We don't
Of
want to.
course it's gonna. Well, but the reason, keep in mind, the reason
It's
why it
not
causes
about
problems
money.
today,
It's not about
because
money.
we're allowing society to be the navigator of what's going on. That's the problem.
But not only society, there's bills that needs to be paid. You get what
No,
I'm
I know
saying?
that already. That's because, yeah, cost of
There's
living.
bills.
Yeah.
So if
can
a
I tell
woman,
both of you something real fast?
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Of course.
Life is about money. Okay.
Yeah,
right,
that's true.
we
Okay.
are in
So
a
you have to
capitalist society.
take that in the
Into stride.
play first. That's always first. It's always about the money. You can't live without it.
Yeah,
You need it.
no
You
No,
romance
I
know,
don't
without
think it's.
finance,
I don't
and
think
yep.
it's the first thing we should take in stride. I think we should. For me, I take my spirituality first,
Oh,
and
your
then
faith comes first and foremost. I
I
believe
believe
that. Yeah.
that helps me be uplifted
Mm-hmm.
to do better. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah, I
Because
would agree, Abdul, to us from a secular viewpoint, the money thing I understand, but yes, if we're where we are in, and I understand why he doesn't subscribe to that, but spirituality and faith definitely comes first.
yeah,
I
but
believe
the
that too.
reason why he probably don't subscribe to it is because look how people use that to be in
Of
messed up
course, no,
all
situations.
the
exactly
time.
right. I
You
agree.
understand?
Listen to
So
me, I
you're
agree
supposed to
100%.
use that to manifest the
That's right.
goodness in your life.
I
To
totally agree.
get the riches for themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I
And they
totally
say, because
understand that.
people say Jesus was poor, but Jesus was, he was living like that because he wanted to, not because he had to. Jesus manifested a lot.
Yeah, but you gotta
Okay,
understand something.
he healed. Jesus healed.
Yeah, but he
Jesus,
was put there for a sole purpose, and the fact of him being poor was a part of the purpose.
I
But
wouldn't say Jesus was poor. Jesus was not poor.
no, when I say poor, no, he was a poor carpenter. When I say that, when I say poor, no, well, he was rich in spirit. We
Right,
know because he was a
because he
part of the
knew
God.
alchemy. He knew. Think about it. When and think about it. It's considered alchemy. You can say whatever how you, because I know how you feel about certain things, Greg. But think about this. If Jesus, they said Jesus took the fishes and manifested to more, right? He multiplied, right? In the scriptures, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, he multiplied. That means that Jesus can take something to multiply it. That's the reason why he wasn't poor,
Well,
because he was able to do this constantly.
no, right. But again, he did those things for reasons that, the all of the things that you see, the parables, the metaphors, the idiomatic language, and all of the things that the idioms and all of the things that you see, and the allegories and things like that. Because
Right.
when you're dealing with the scripture, you're dealing with allegory, you're dealing with idiomatic language, you're dealing with parables, and you're dealing with a whole bunch of different things that an average Christian just don't know. Which will you'll say these things and well, what's that? I've said things like that, and I've heard Christians go run to their pastor. Well, he said something about idioms. What's that? Oh no, he's full of the devil. Well, what are you crazy? Because that's unfortunate. That's the mindset of some of these people, and they don't know certain purposes of why things are even being done. But I get what you're saying though. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that's what I'm just saying, that Jesus was rich in terms of he was well off, and that's why he didn't have to focus on the money part. But when
No.
people that believers, this is why a lot of people don't believe in God. And I believe that the people who believe in God and the Christians, so-called Christians, we should be responsible. I consider myself non-denominational, but we should be responsible, because if you look at it, and if we have the Most High on our side, the Creator on our side, and we proclaim that, why are we living the way we live in? Why are we talking,
I've said that a
speaking the way
dozen
we
times in the
speaking?
past
We're
few
supposed to be
segments.
uplifted.
Yes.
We're supposed to be talking from a whole different perspective. So people
That's
like
right.
you who don't believe in Christianity, who don't believe in Jesus, who don't believe in that, it's like our fault, because they seeing something totally different, and they're like, yo, they just talking a good game.
Exactly what
That's not what it seems like. I'm just saying.
No, of course. No, but I just said right. That has to do with listen, that
So
has
when
to
you
do with
hear men,
yeah.
you hear men from a Christian point of view, from God point of view, when you hear a
Mhm.
man saying, oh, we're telling a woman, I'm not saying Tyler Perry is, I know why Tyler Perry is saying that. And I'll get to that in 1 minute. I believe I do. But allegedly, I believe I do. So, but when you hear that a man can only pay a light bill, but especially if he's Christian, we got to ask ourselves what he believes in. You understand what I'm saying? Like, what is he believing in? What is he doing? Like, do he, can he manifest? Can he, it's like the same thing when Jesus was healing people. Like, what is your gifts and your talents that you're not taking to another level as a man?
Yeah. But see, what you're saying is, and I also definitely understand the idea of why he said what he said. When he's saying what he's saying, he's dealing with it from just a regular value viewpoint versus what society is showing you today. That's why he's saying it with so much comfortability. He's a billionaire saying these things. Other billionaires wouldn't even think on his level of the way he's saying what he's saying. He's saying, all he's just simply saying in very layman's terms, that if this man can only pay this at the time, and we're saying that things can definitely be subject to change over time.
What billionaire have you heard? What white male billionaire have you heard tell black women that? I mean,
well, you're not going to hear no. First of all, the white billionaire, first of all, everything that the white billionaire or the white mindset today is not synonymous to anything that we're dealing with anyway. So that right there is, I'll give you an example. Right, if you look at a Warren Buffett on any show, All of them, everything with them. Remember, Caucasians cooperate to build corporations. That's their mindset. That's what it is. And and then the ones who dealt with trickle down economics during the time of FDR and Woodrow Wilson's era, that's something totally different. All I'm saying is that when it comes to people like them, all of them are automatic superficial thinkers out the gate, so they're not even thinking on our level of any of these things. That's why they don't ever give you any kind of secrets or any kind of wealth. They'll give you wealth value and wealth instruction pertaining to a way where you wouldn't even know how to fathom on even how to get into it, because you don't even have the revenue or any kind of money to even get on that level of even doing things to put yourself in that position.
Yeah, I think he got cut off by mistake.
We got to
Abdul?
take that into consideration.
Oh,
I
okay.
remember there was
Uh-huh.
a documentary years ago where Warren Buffett's granddaughter got on a show and said something about, this is what she said. She said, made a bold statement about her grandfather. She said, the Warren Buffett that you see on TV being this kind old man is not the Warren Buffett. He's not the Warren Buffett that you think he is.
I remember that because she's saying that
Yeah.
he didn't give her no money, and his
No,
thing is
no,
he wants
no.
them to work hard.
No, it's not even that. It's the fact that she knew what he was about. You got to remember, these people got to give you a squeaky clean image on TV and on the tabloids to make you think they're one thing, but behind the scene he could be a damn blatant racist where he hates black. But we're not going to see that. So the fact that she exposed it that way, remember, that's his granddaughter. She probably remembered him as he was up and coming. He probably was cruel to other people. He probably was a horrible person. You know what I mean? Which, in my point of view, I think that's what it is. And that's why he disconnected her from the whole heritage. And, but at the end of the day, at least she had hard enough to come out and say that. So the billionaires like them, they're not going to do anything synonymous to our situation, because what we fail to realize is that they pose a major part of the problem. You understand? They're a part
Okay,
of the
but
lobby,
can because he did mention black woman, so I
Who?
think Tyler Perry. He said
Yeah,
black women
yeah.
should, right? My thoughts on that was, can he have worded it whereas not just us, because it in the circles of black women is like, oh, why we have to, here we go again sacrificing, right? Here we go again, our ancestors, all of we done seen this happen. So could it been more, I think it would have been beneficial if he could have said something that will inspire black men to reach higher levels.
I agree with that. I agree.
I mean, because now it takes it off of like, oh, just because the woman is like, oh, you should accept me the way I am. It's not about that. It's about the man being able to see himself as value in a society that is what it is. You understand? And coming and getting out of that mindset of,
I agree.
Okay, slavery, because we're not in Jim Crow, but even though Jim Crow laws, we're
part of what they call the new Jim Crow system, but
the thing is that only the strongest is going to survive, right?
That's right.
You eat what you catch. Right, that's what one of my partners said. You eat what you catch. So maybe we should teach. Maybe men should be taught. You eat what you catch. To show up in society to be a better version of yourself.
That's right. I agree with that. I agree with that.
To I think we should start having that narrative, especially for men, more so, because even like you said, your daughter it's a slim chance for your daughter. Your daughter's going to grow up with this next generation of males, right?
Well, right now she's going to grow up in a society where you're going to have transgender androids and who the hell, all kind of madness.
Right.
So we right now, this younger generation right now, I don't think you understand the fallen society they're in now. It'll be robots to be you'll have transgender robots and all kind of look at where they are today, and they're pushing these things in society right now. So they're literally pushing a far more godless. Right now, they're pushing a godless society. They're pushing, man becoming one with God. That's what this is all about. So they're going to be in a society between now and the next 30 years will be twice as wicked as what we're going through now. You know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons why each day I just asked the Creator, the Most High, just to navigate my steps and keep me here long enough for at least for her to be. If I could even see I'm 53. She's 15. If I could see her live to even see 30, and I'm still alive to see that and see how she's just navigated and listen to things that I told her as a young. Because right now, I must admit I'm actually very happy with the way she's right now. She's a straight A student. She's getting hundreds on her, scoring hundreds on all her tests. She's focused. She's a homebody. She's not out there in the street. You know, she lives in Georgia in a black suburban neighborhood where everyone stays to themselves. So the only ones that she really is subjugated to right now is people in school. So what I have taught her throughout the years is that when you go to school, you're going to run into different variations of different attitudes, different personas, different people, and some of those people's parents may not have the values of the parents that you have. So you got to take it, and then you also got to take into consideration that most of them in a young age always they gravitate to people with negative issues and problems for some reason or another. That's why even back in the 80s, you could probably test this up. When we were younger, all of the young girls always wanted the tough guys or the bad guys or the ones that wanted to be thugs. You know, they wanted they had some kind of what they call fascination with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which led them down
let me tell you why.
destruction.
It's not that they really wanted those guys, but
they were infatuated with it because of the way it was presented.
And those guys showed, even though it was negative, those guys showed go-getter attitudes. Those guys showed they showed some type of
until it became we don't love them hoes. And once it became love them, that all bets were off at that time, Ange. I'm sorry. Because at the end of the day,
but I'm just telling you the psychology. What they
I know what you're saying.
That was wrong. It's not good to pick those type of guys, but
no,
psychologically,
every girl in the crack era wanted a dude driving a damn
psychologically they had a persona as a go-getter type of man, as a provider, as you understand, but they just looked at it they just got the negative version of that.
Well, these men, they did provide. They provided death and destruction to our people. You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
And then what made it even worse is the fact that it was actually planted by people who set us up and then turned around after the Nicaragua scandal. Then they had to, we got caught with these guns, all this stuff coming through the pipelines. Now we got to wage a war on drugs and make it look like, So I get what you're saying, but there's so many cracks and crevices in that whole situation, man, when it comes down to, but I get why you would make that as an example,
Yeah. Abdul?
Yeah. Well, society should not dictate to the public how to live.
That's right, brother. Agreed.
Television, movies, music, and all this kind of stuff is doing that. That's why they have all these
for the past 20 minutes now. Yeah.
They have these reality shows to take you away from real life. You know what I mean? It's a trick. It's to trick you.
It's a distraction.
Yes, yeah, very much so. And they planned it like this. The
of
government,
course, yes.
They plan stuff 20 years in advance to throw on you now.
Yes.
They do this all the time because I work for them criminals, so I know what they do.
Brother. That situation. I agree.
and now this society is so screwed up, they'll never be able to fix it. And as far as Black people is concerned, there never will be a collectiveness between them. That'll never happen because they got people broken up by classes, and that class distinction is by finance, those above and those below, and that's the way they always going to keep it until this ends. At some point this is going to end. And like the stage, I shouldn't bring this up, but I'm gonna bring it up anyway. We're in the stage now where they setting the public up for nuclear war.
100%.
I believe that. I believe that.
That's script, but that's prophesied in scripture.
Biblical too. But
that's
even
scripture.
though don't, right, I believe that.
Let me tell you something about the biblical end of that. Okay, and you might not like this, but I'm just gonna give it to you anyway. People never looked at the study of the Bible, which I have done since I was a child. And I was in the church last night cutting those people up, and they let me do that. Anyway, I do that all the time.
I wish I'd have been there.
Because and I'm gonna go back to what I cut them up with too, but I'm gonna tell you this part first. See, the Bible in itself, and I'm gonna get off this, is a distraction. It's to make you believe that what's in this book is concrete. Okay, you got to know where it came from. And Angie, I gave you the copy of what me and several other people was going to do, that hidden truth, naked truth, and Greg, I got to get it for you too. And it tells you where the Bible came from, how they made it all up, and how they put it all together, and how it's to control society, and it has worked for centuries. People never think about that. Why was that book put together? It's a distraction and it's a control factor. It's to put ideas in your mind of a God of the humans that don't even make sense. I'm gonna break it down just a little bit, and then I'm gonna get off.
No. I want to hear it because you,
Okay.
like I said, brother. You know, you see how I go against your other boy.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
And I'm definitely poised to, you know, like again, I respect and understand your viewpoint 100%. But you know, like I said, that'll be a good conversation that we can go toe to toe on.
Finish.
Yeah, I want to hear
Okay.
this.
All right. I just want to go in just a little bit. In the beginning of the Bible, it says something unique that most people don't even catch. It says that this is this version of the Bible. That's the first thing.
Okay.
So that means that there's many versions of the same book,
Okay.
or a likewise book. So wait a minute. Well, which one is the real one?
So let me ask you. I want to before
ahead.
you get. I want to ask you a question, and then go. But you go first, and then I'm gonna ask you a question based on what you just said right there. Go ahead.
Okay, and then when you go into Genesis, right? This is the funny part. I should always cut them up with this too. This God of the human says to his boys, or to whoever he was talking to, he said, "Let us make man in our image after our likeness." Now, wait a minute. Hold on. This God is so powerful. What do he need other people to help him do stuff for?
Elohim, right? Genesis 1:20. Go ahead.
Right.
I can explain that. Go ahead.
And then the other thing is, when you go to see, I don't want to quote the scriptures, but when you go to Isaiah, and God says some other stuff, he said that he forms the light and make darkness. He makes peace, and he
create evil
creates
out of the God. Do
the
all these
evil.
things. Yes, he does.
Yeah,
That's 100%
right. Now,
correct.
yeah, and then when you
100%
go,
correct.
all right, but then when you go to the Satan thing, that's another thing. He talked to Satan one time. He said Satan came up in heaven, and God said, "Say, where you been, man?" And God said, Satan said, "Oh, I've been to and from the earth."
That's in book of Job. And I'm gonna tell you why he said that, bro. You know why he said that?
He was on earth. He was on earth.
No. But keep in mind, brother Abdul, when he said what he said there in the book of Job, you got to understand those certain passages in the book of Job predates Genesis. Most people are not aware of that. There's certain aspects in the book of Job that predates Genesis itself. That's something that people don't understand. And we can get into that. That's why when he was talking to Job and they asked Job, "Can thou bring forth Mazaroth?" You got to understand the significance of Mazaroth. Furthermore, when we're dealing with the construct of the Bible in many different versions, and a lot of, and let me tell you something, brother. I have right now. I go on. IG has blocked me several times already for going on conscious platforms and asking them questions that they can't answer pertaining to them thinking that they, can get the drop on somebody who just think that they're an average person who just deals with the Bible from a very a low key situation. I tell people all the time, right? If you're going to deal with the Bible, you have to deal with it with a thorough exegesis. You can't do eisegesis, because if you're going to eisegete, you're going to have problems all the time. Most people who, and I'm not saying you per se, you got your opinion, I understand that. What I'm saying is that most people who deal with the scriptures, they eisegete a lot of things off the surface without knowing what they're talking about, and then they build strong man arguments around to try to validate their conclusion, and it all falls apart if you know how to exegete the scripture. So if I was to ask you just one simple question, my brother, right? Because I heard you say that there's many different versions, and you're 100% correct. So I can't argue with that. What I would ask you as an individual who kind of cut these people up, if I was to ask you, right, the biblical narrative, if the narrative itself contradicts itself, right, then the narrative itself should be able to expose all of its contradictions as a narrative. If I was to ask you as a brother who feel that you have the license to cut the Bible up, right? What would I be looking for when I'm looking for these? What particular text would I be looking for? A text that comes from a formal a formal equivalency text, or should I be looking for these contradictions in in a dynamic equivalent text, because that's very important. If somebody comes out and say these things about the scriptures, it's something that's very important. So that's one of the reasons why when I am talking about the scriptures and when I'm going into it, I exegete it to the point where I'm going into the linguistics and understanding the history and so many different things that most people they're not even on that level of understanding. And I can understand that, you know what I mean? And I try not to be arrogant with it. I try to do it in a way where we could come together so we could try to draw a proper conclusion. And so
that's
people
what
could
we're
say,
gonna have to do, because that's a big topic. That's a
right, no,
big
absolutely.
topic.
So that's why
That
if
is.
somebody's going to tell me that the Bible contradicts, which particular version? Are you dealing with a version from an eclectic manuscript? Are you dealing with it from a majority text?
And when we deal with that, we're gonna also speak about what a lot of women been saying recently too.
Well, keep in mind, how many times have you been told?
Hold on, Greg, that the Bible is sexist and that the Bible oppresses women, that it teaches men how to oppress women from the rape that happened in the Bible,
right,
from all of that stuff that happened.
Right.
It teaches,
it does. And I'm gonna tell you why. So
women.
here's the thing, real quick. And I'll say it real fast, because I know a lot of people don't know this. When it tells women to be silent in the church, because they use that right there. Well, the Bible's making women be silent in the church. The reason why the Apostle Paul didn't put that in the Bible, the reason why that was actually in the Bible, because at that particular time you had women who were Israelite women who literally constantly went into the temple of Diana, and they were dealing with all kind of different strange messages, strange philosophies, and things like that. And what they did was they were extracting information from witches and all kind of women that were dealing with all kind of negative connotations, and they started trying to walk and bring that into the church. And that's when they had to shut it down, because you got to remember, what was the biggest problem when Jesus was rebuking the Pharisees, right? What was the purpose of him rebuking the Pharisees? What was the most important? Let me ask you a simple question, brother, because you said you were dealing with the Bible for a long time. What was when these Israelites came out of Babylonian captivity and they encountered these great men of this higher stature of literature and information, right? What was the major thing that they did that caused Jesus to rebuke them in the first place? I would just ask you that one question.
Well, first of all, no offense to you, but
no offense taken, brother.
Historically, there was no such person as Jesus.
Okay,
never existed.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you why. I'll tell you why that's wrong, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, when you look at when these Pharisees rose up on the scene and he rebuked them for one reason and one reason only, because what they simply did was they created something called the Synagogue religion. Do you know what the Synagogue religion is?
Never heard of that term, my man.
Okay, so the Synagogue religion, this is where you get the term synagogue from. And what they basically did was they isolated themselves from all of the different cultures, and they created something called the Synagogue religion, something where they would kind of be the overseers of it, and they would be the ones that would now be pushing the high power from their perspective. So what they did at this particular time, you had Rome that was beginning to control the Greek world, and you had what they call the 70 judges of the Upper Sanhedrin Circle. And what these particular judges did, they were the ones that would put an approval on anything that was coming in and out of the court system. So these Pharisees, they took these Mishnah scrolls and they brought them to these judges. And what they did was they put an approval on these scrolls. They brought the scrolls back out. And once they brought the scrolls out, they cut off the Levitical priesthood and they changed it with something called the halakha law, which represents the traditional oral law, okay, which later on became known as your Talmud today, that they did with this misconception of Judaism and stuff like that. The whole purpose of Christ rebuking them was due to the fact that they literally cut off the Levitical priesthood. That's something that was completely illegitimate in the eyes of the Most High. So that's why any authority in Rome at this particular point that appointed a Jew as a king, they were illegitimate in the eyes of the Most High, because it wasn't coming through the 12 tribes. It wasn't coming through God's lineage of the written law. This is very important to know. Most Christians, this goes past them. Even when you look at where they tell you that there's no difference between Jew nor Greek, that has nothing to do with a white Jew and a white Greek. That has to do with Hellenist Greeks that were actually Israelites that adopted the Greek customs, okay? And when Christ performed something called the proselyte baptism, that caused them to be grafted and to bring them back into the fold of understanding the truth of the law and understanding. And keep in mind, when you look at the four synoptic gospels, Luke, Matthew, John, and Mark, they were still dealing with the Old Testament. That's one of the reasons why when the Samaritan woman came to him looking for repentance, he turned her away and said, "No, I did not come for you. I came here for only the children of Israel." Okay, and you're a dog, and this is what he did. So actually, once he performed that proselyte baptism and started the grafting of people coming back into the fold, and I'm going to prove to you right now, without a shadow of doubt, that he existed, because when you go back into the ancient Roman records, and when you go back to to a man by the name of Tacticus, Cornelius Tacticus. Have you ever heard of Cornelius Tacticus?
No, I heard of Cornelius, but not the last name.
Okay, right. So Cornelius Tacticus was a very high ambitious and very high.
Wait, Greg.
Yeah,
No,
go
you
ahead.
know what we're gonna do?
What?
This week or Sunday, we can have another conversation.
We can do it. That sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan. And then what I'll do is I'll come out with a lot of information. I'll come out with a lot of information to prove.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah,
yeah, that's what we'll do it like that, brother.
Jesus real, and we come up, and that'll be a whole different topic, because also we can also put in there how religious has oppressed women.
Yeah, because you know what I would do, honestly, what I would do, I would really love to do, right? I would love to really bring out a lot of history. I would love to bring out some American history, based on the misconception on how we think that the Bible, how the white man used the Bible to oppress us, in which we know he did to a degree. But at the end of the day, what a lot of our ignorant people do is we go into the 17 and 1800s and we build a straw man argument based on just that alone. We don't go into the 1600s. We don't go into the King James doctrine of separation. We don't understand a lot of these things. We don't understand so many different things of the transitions, even early America. This is one of the reasons why now you got all these black people who were once either conscious or either 5%ers or whatever they are, talking about, oh, well, we were always here in America. We're not even African now. So you have so many. This only proves that we're the chosen seed, because we're so destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And keep in mind that we have, as a people, we have been so far removed from our antiquitous understanding of who we are. Is the reason why we have also having these problems. We've been so far removed from the culture. And this is why when you look at the scripture and you exegete it the correct way, you can pull the pieces together to prove certain things, pretty much everything, and bring it full circle. That's what I have been doing for the past now 20 years, which is the reason why I can definitely validate and prove. And I'm going to go into this Cornelius Tacticus, because there's certain things in a particular book in the Roman records that literally validated the Christ. And then when you look at the Herodium,
and we're gonna save that part, because
no, we're gonna go into all of that.
We're gonna tie this all in together.
I'm bring in the Herodium. I'm gonna bring in a lot of different information, because this is the thing. At 53 years old, at this age right now, believe me when I tell you, after everything that I've been through in my life and all of the stuff I've been through as an individual, dealing with the misconception of what we see as Christianity today and versus what's going on in the scriptures, they're not even synonymous. And that's why I know for sure,
Abdul don't believe in Jesus Christ. He don't believe, and
you know, I understand. No, I understand.
But you know what, Greg? A lot of Jews don't believe in Jesus Christ neither. You know that, right?
Who's that? Who?
A lot of Jews don't believe in Jesus Christ.
Well, of course they don't.
They go by the laws of Moses.
The ones who don't believe in Jesus, they're dealing with rabbinical Judaism. They're dealing with literally what I literally gave you a quick cover story on what these Pharisees did. They literally cut off the Levitical priesthood and they replaced it with something called the halakha, which means traditional rabbinical Judaism, or what they call the oral law. They replaced it with the oral law. And when they did that right there, they changed the entire game completely. That was the whole purpose of Christ coming through. This is the whole purpose of Christ rebuking them, because what they did, they cut off the Levitical priesthood. And that goes back to Antiochus Epiphanes. That goes back into the history of John Hyrcanus. That goes back into how Herodium even came Jews in the first place. Because remember, after the events of the Apocrypha, when the Maccabees overthrew the Second Temple and took it from Antiochus Epiphanes, who came from out of the Seleucid Empire, and then John Hyrcanus now passes a law in the society telling anybody that if you not become a Jew, you will have to be beheaded. This is how Edomites now became Jews, and this is how King Herod became a convert Jew. And then the second conversion was in the 7th century under King Bulan, the order of King Bulan and Khazars.
Bro, you getting real deep. We gonna have to.
No, I can go even deeper. Are you kidding me? This is what I do.
So Abdul, you have to come ready, because he has a lot of information. Abdul is well read, and Abdul he's well read too. So it's just to get the information and the wisdom and the knowledge of this.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And
The
keep this
more
in
you
mind, brother
have,
Abdul.
the
Listen,
more
brother
you can
Abdul,
make
I'm
conscious
glad I
decisions.
met you. I think that you a cool brother. I love talking with you, brother, because you know, especially our last conversation we had with the other dude you killed me the way you were cutting the other brother up, you know. So listen, brother, you know, me coming in with the information and the stuff that I know, it's just me, you know, and again, I'm going to go into the formal dynamic versus you know, a formal, I'm sorry, a formal equivalent text versus a dynamic equivalent. We're going to go into that history. We could go into with the difference between a majority text and an eclectic manuscript, because these are key principal things that you have to know in order to say that this Bible either contradicts itself, it's not true, because I mean, there's so much information that goes over people's heads that, and this is why it's easy to build the straw man argument off of basic things that people just don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
these are factors. These are things that you have to bring into the fold in order for you to say to have to draw this conclusion. It just can't be, well, you know, some white man created a Jesus, because I'm going to go into the history of Constantine. I'm going to go into Diocletian. I'm going to go into Maxentius. We're going to go into all of that, because at the end of the day, these are thorough historical factors that literally validates why multitudes and millions of people were killed because of this Jesus. And we had Europeans that got killed, and also black people. So
All
believe
right.
me when I tell you, brother, I'm going to come with a barrage of information. We can do it this Sunday. Let's do it, Lord willing. We can do it.
All right. All right. All right. So I'm getting ready to wrap up because I got to get up in the morning. But listen, I just
You're going to call me back, because I want you
Yeah,
speaking for
I'll
about
call
at
you
least
back.
15 minutes, because
But
we got to talk about a couple of things.
okay. But thank you guys for joining in tonight. And also I just want to say that this platform is going to be growing. We got a lot of plans. Just want to give a shout out once again to my host Avon, who's in she's recovering now from the hospital. So I want to give her shout outs and love. We're gonna bring a lot of information and a lot of resources, from credit repair.
Okay, that's good. That sounds like a plan.
People build up their credit, to information on religion, information on jobs, information. This is a platform that we want to one stop to help people. Okay. So we're gonna get more into that as time go on about the credit repair and building businesses.
Yes. Yeah.
And moving forward in our overall life, the 360 of what our life is consist of.
Hey, listen, you know something, Ange? It may lie between me, you, brother Abdul. We may be the ones. You know what I mean? You never know. We may be the ones. You know? No, because one thing's for sure.
I'm truly passionate about uplifting people. I'm truly passionate about that.
Me too.
And that's what we need to see more of that, and especially for those who claim that they are Christians or claim that they follow the laws of God.
Right.
And that's what it should be about. It should be about the manifestation of our own life and also others' lives, and what we can contribute to other people.
Oh, no question. Yeah, no doubt.
You know, I'm a certified life coach, so I'll be bringing under my life coaching. I will be bringing various resources as credit repairing, real estate, and other services. Okay,
right.
So yes. So guys, any closing thoughts about this Tyler Perry? What women should look for and want in a man? Any Abdul? Wait.
Yeah, I think we should go back to that the next time we get on. We should go back to that same subject, because that was never completely clarified.
Clarify it now.
In a sense, brother Abdul, I believe it was, and I believe that you answered a lot of good questions. You said some things, key things that were actually correct, which I had no choice but to agree with you with. So I think that you definitely, because remember in the beginning when I was saying things like how we literally allow society to navigate everything, from our mindset to our well-being to everything, and this is one of the biggest problems that we have today. So when you have kind of brought that, you kind of like, you know, you enhanced it when you said it, and you were 100% correct. You were spot on. And until we come to that conclusion of understanding that we are, as long as we continue to allow other people to navigate who we are, we're going to continue to remain our own worst enemy. And this is a big problem. You know what I mean? And I'm only going from a secular viewpoint. I still always believe that spiritual, we should really be uplifting our creator and put it in his hands, because
But hold on,
vengeance is mine,
Greg.
says the Most
Let him
High.
finish because he had some more thoughts on that. So Abdul,
Oh, okay. All right,
your
my bad.
thoughts
Go
on
ahead.
that.
Yeah, and see, you know, the woman has always been put behind the man, and she never even picked up on it. I'm gonna give you 3 examples. Terminology.
Okay.
You have a woman, women, and female. Always relationship to a male, to a man. You know what I mean? The terminology for you yourself is always some relationship with a man. And women never even know that before. I pointed that out to my father when I was a kid. I said, Dad, do you know they talk about women, woman, and female? That's all got to do with being related to a male and a man. Everything they do is related to him. Like he's always got to be there no matter what. You don't have your own identity. All the identity you have is relation to the other sex, which is men.
Right.
You
And
know?
they would tell you that too. They would say if a woman can't keep a man, then she's nothing. Or if a
Oh
woman
yeah,
don't
I
have
done
a
heard that a
man,
million times.
if
You
her
know?
whole
sounds
life is
ridiculous
a
to me.
man.
Yeah.
That
Always,
doesn't
you
make
know,
any sense to me.
a woman should confide and be her own power, her own sound mind, and her own wants and wishes and what she needs in her life for herself. She should always put herself first before this man and before her children. You know.
Now, Abdul, you might need security with that one. That
Men, let me tell you something. Men that came against me so
I'm
many
a woman
times.
saying that, but you might need some
Yeah.
security.
Look, you know why? It's
For
the truth.
saying that, Abdul.
Yeah. Well, men don't want to hear that because men want to be the head. They want women to fall behind them and listen to everything they say and do as they're instructed to do. And it shouldn't be that way.
Well, the scriptures, and I'm sure
Forget the scriptures.
Greg
Forget
is going to mention that because when we talk about the scriptures, that's what the scriptures say, that women, men are the head.
That's male dominant. Male wrote it. So come on, don't go there.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, we're
different
gonna go into
story.
that because again, that has to
Hold
do
on,
with.
hold on, Greg, hold on, because we was talking. So go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Yeah,
brother.
that's you don't even go there with that because anything in the scriptures will always be male dominant. So you can't live your life by that. You don't live your life for no Bible. You don't live your life for what somebody written down in text and say, this is how you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to think. This is how you're supposed to act. You know, that's the worst thing in the world because you're being brainwashed and controlled by some book. Okay?
Well, here's the thing. As we can see today, right? Even you have something today in the earth called progressive Christianity, that goes hand in hand with this culture that we're dealing with. Anywhere, it literally gives a pass on sin. It literally contributes, and it literally upholds homosexuality and all kind of unnatural things that go contrary to the scripture. So if you feel that we shouldn't be living by the perspective of the scriptures or by the attributes of the scriptures, would you say that what's going on in today's society is okay? Because, like I said, as you can see, the multitude of people today are not following scripture.
No.
They're
I think what he's saying, Greg, hold on. I think what he's saying is that he's just saying that women are being oppressed.
No,
right.
well,
that's
100%.
he's saying that, and he's saying that that's a major issue, and that because everything is all about the man first, and then if that's the case, then men have no excuse on why they should step up.
I agree with that. I agree with you.
You get what I'm saying? That's the whole thing. It's like, okay, if we go even by biblical, it's no excuse. You're supposed to step up as a man, like because biblically, even it's saying so the man is out of order because if we not the head, if we the tail and he's the head, how
well, this is the thing. We're out of order because we're just not following the Most High. Period. If you really want to really make it simple, we're not even following nothing that the Creator has brought forth. We're not following it. That's one of the biggest problems right there. We're not following it. We're not following His principles at all.
Well,
I think that we should all be able to agree with that.
Well, let me just say this. First thing first, no offense to you, Greg. So don't take it offensive. Okay. First of all, the Most High did not write no Bible. He never came down here, wrote no Bible. He didn't tell nobody write no Bible. He don't know nothing about no Bible. He said he ain't got nothing to do with that. Okay, that's
Wait,
man's
Abdul,
thing.
so you saying that God is saying he have nothing to do about
No, not
oppressing
God.
women, and
God
that
doesn't
women
exist.
is
The
being
Most High
oppressed?
Creator. That Most High Creator is not God. Is the people. Let me explain something to you. The God of the Bible is the God over the humans. Okay, that's not real. That's fake. If you got all these books, all these Bibles telling you all this different stuff, it makes no sense. So there's the Creator that created all life forms, and on this planet you call Earth, the planet called Earth, there's 3 life forms down here. And I'm going to break it down for you. The human race that probably did not originate here. I do not know that for sure, but I've been talking to others and they feel that the humans did not originate here, that they were brought here. That I don't know. And then you have the aliens. People don't even know what the real aliens are. The real aliens are really creatures. They're not people. They're creatures from another dimension here on Earth. And the really bad ones that are here are the Krell. Most people never heard of the Krell. Krelh. They live here amongst the human race. They pretend to be humans because they live in human bodies. They dwell in human bodies. And I'm going to just tell you this how they got here. My parents asked me this when I was a kid. My grandfather wanted to know too. So I told him. What they do is transfer their consciousness out of their physical bodies into a human body, into the fetus of a dead fetus that a couple's going to have. And they become the human's children. And the parents know from a very young age, 3 months, 4 months, that something's wrong with this kid. This kid is learning too fast, and they start talking too soon, and they're questioning their so-called parents about things that no child could question when they haven't even went to school yet.
You know what, Abdul?
Yes.
That's deep what you're saying. This is getting, we gotta, that's another conversation too, the aliens.
Yeah.
So wow.
Yeah,
Well,
we can get into that.
the aliens and the demons and the angels are the same being. Because
Wow.
let me wake you up to something. Didn't they say this is in the Bible itself that when, and this is the other thing that people don't catch. The God, and I'm gonna get off of this real fast, Greg. So don't just listen.
No, I'm not going to dismiss it. I'm listening to it because I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm just listening.
The God of the humans, okay, what he did was instead of destroying this Satan, that he was Lucifer at the time, instead of destroying him, which he could have supposedly, he sent Satan down here on earth with the humans, and the angels, which was the demons, down here too. So what kind of God is that? If he's going to send Satan down here amongst the humans and the demons down here against the humans, what kind of God is that? That ain't a good guy. You know?
Well, that's why even in the Old Testament, he tells you that he's a God of terror. He says these things. And also keep in mind, right around the time, right after Adam and Eve was thrown out of the Garden of Eden, right? And when they came together, right around the time when they were about to conceive Seth, which was actually the progenitor of the sons of God, he was the one who actually brought forth or replenished the world through Noah's lineage and all these different people. What did he remember when Eve was talking, when she wasn't even aware of what sex and all these things were. So when she was conceiving this child, she said this child came from the Lord. She said this. She didn't even say it came from Adam. It came from God Almighty. And the reason why she said that is, and this is one of the reasons why when this child was now brought forth, the prophecy of Satan's head being bruised was actually a prophecy of Jesus Christ coming in and literally replacing mankind as him being the second Adam. That's why in the New Testament he's recognized as the second Adam. He's the second Adam that now replenishes life through our spirits, because we got to understand our body's 70% water and the rest of this body is nothing but flesh and bone that goes back into dust. And what we need to understand is that we're basically a spirit. So when we leave this body, we will pass into eternity. You understand what I'm saying? When you look at all of the any text that is not synonymous to the biblical text, like when you go into things like the laws of Ma'at, when you go into all these different comedic what they call antiquitous texts that they claim the Bible comes from, what you will see is that they're calling themselves things that the Bible's already been saying. When you look at the laws of Ma'at compared to the 613 laws of Torah, none of these things are synonymous. You're talking about requirements, and then you're talking about deathbed confessions. Excuse me, they're not synonymous. When you're looking at
Greg, let me ask you a question
go ahead.
about this. Do you think it was right for this God of the humans to keep Adam and Eve mindless and naked, walking around every day like that? I mean, what, he was getting his kicks off of that, or what? I mean, what?
No,
Wow.
you're talking about when they were in the Garden of Eden.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they were supposed to stay like that.
No, this is what the problem was. The issue is that you got to understand something. When Adam and Eve was walking around in that form, we need to understand that they already had God's attributes already. They talked with him. They could see him, and you got to also keep in mind the angels in the Garden of Eden were not regular trees. They were angels. All of the trees were angels. That's why the tree of life was actually Jesus Christ, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil was Satan in a manifestation of a tree. And he had what you call a dual formation, which is the reason why he came to them and pushed them towards and telling them that if you eat of this tree, you're going to have the knowledge of a God and things like that. And what we need to understand is that the angels, that's why when God was telling them in the Garden of Eden, you can eat of all trees. This is where you get this term food for thought from. Food for thought comes from this understanding that your food for thought is the angels that you were eating from. You can eat of all the angels and listen to all the information, but one you literally stay away from. You understand what I'm saying? And this is why when he asked them, and you're only going to find this in the King James Bible, which comes from the correct text. And we need and what we need to do is the fact that because King James he just brought forth the people together to compile a correct text has nothing to do with all this nonsense of him being a homosexual, all these crazy things that people would try to use to try to say, well, I'm not dealing with the King James. There's so many different things that we're going to get into next week when we go into that whole situation. What I'm just trying to show you is that this Garden of Eden was just not an ordinary garden. It was full of godly figures and beings and everything at this particular point. So that's why he was telling them, in the day that you eat of this tree, you're going to surely die. We need to understand is that God knew all along that they was going to transgress. That's what it is. So what we need to understand about the Most High is that the Most High, right, is a perfect being who's sitting down, who orchestrates an entire world or actually puts a picture together. And as he's putting this picture together, right, you would see certain things that are happening in the Bible that we would say is a flaw. But what you're looking at is an actual illustration of a creator who is literally constantly taking his work, his craftsmanship, and doing all these different things and saying, okay, well, let me fix this. No, I don't want it that way. I'm gonna do it this. And what we do as people, we cannot think the way God wants to illustrate his picture. And this is what a lot of our people do.
Because our thoughts is not of his
thoughts. Exactly correct. So at the end of the day, whatever way God is reconstructing and doing, he's doing it in his order. So that's one of the reasons why he tells you in the book Isaiah, I form the light, I form the dark, I create peace, I make evil, I the Lord God do all these things. And also in Ephesians 1:11, keep in mind, what does he say? I work everything after the counsel of my own, and he does it of his own will. So everything that we're doing, everything that's happening in society is of God, is ordained of the Most High. That's just, and what happens is that, and that's why, like, you're going into this thing with the Nephilim, and dealing with these astral angels and dealing with the firmament and all these.
Okay, I'm gonna have to cut you off there because I'm getting ready to shut it down. But we have a lot to discuss, and it'll probably be a part 1, part 2, or whatever.
Okay, that sounds good. But I get your point, Abdul.
Yeah,
I do what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. So
and we should still go. When we come back, we should still clarify. Because I don't think this has been settled with the women. What women should look for, what women should do. and how they should be.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So we can touch on that, and then
Then
we'll
we
come
go to
back with
something else.
that, and then we'll go into
We're gonna go to a religion
the spiritual-
situation.
the
Yeah.
right, the spirituality of life.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do
Okay.
that. We'll do that, and we'll listen to his viewpoints, our viewpoints, and we'll pull it together.
And I'm gonna go get me a cross too.
All you need is a daily cross, my brother. Once you get the daily cross, you'll be fine, brother. And you gotta understand, and then you gotta understand the significance of the daily cross, the star rose, not versus this Roman Catholic nonsense that we've been being misled by. The star rose.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna thank y'all for joining in, because like I said, we are transpiring over to to YouTube. So
Yeah.
And we're no longer doing blog talk. So this is like our first couple of times being on this platform. So
okay.
All right. So definitely, Greg, you always join us anyway, and Abdul as well. So until then, we'll have another episode of Conversation with A&A. Peace and blessing. God bless. Even though Abdul don't believe in God, I'm still gonna say God bless. Good night to you guys.
Break my heart.
Okay,
Right.
brother. Until next time, my brother.
Y'all take care.
Okay.
Peace and blessings.
Good night.
Later.